Thing is one of the many wonderful mysteries in the Addams family. Depending on which interpretation of the Addams family you know, you have seen Thing as either a dismembered hand, or if you're a watcher of the OG show, you will have seen a hand plus an entire forearm. Neither of which makes the fact that this seemingly severed body part is actually a main character of the show any less weird or any less mysterious. If you want to know more about the Addams family or why it is such a special show, make sure to check out our video on who is the Addams family. For now, I'll assume you know that the Addams family started as a comic in a newspaper in 1938 and was then developed into a TV show in the 60s, with remakes in the late 90s and now with the Wednesday Netflix TV show in 2022, as well as there are other movies in between, but we're not focusing on those. The Addams family is an inverted portrayal of American life, seeming incredibly weird to us normies, and including weird magical aspects. And one of the most weird of these magical aspects is Thing T Thing, the T standing for Thing. Yeah, that's his actual name in the show. So, welcome to Rebel Culture, where today we will be looking at this incredibly bizarre main character of the Addams family, finding clues about who Thing could be, and whether he is a disembodied hand according to what he looks like, or if he is actually in fact a mysterious creature existing within the world of the Addams family. If you like the video, then like and subscribe. We really appreciate every single one of you, and this channel is still so young, so we really need all of your support. So, back to the topic. What do we actually know about Thing? First, he is not a pet. And don't you dare call him one, because he will get upset. In fact, he is very much treated like a family member by the rest of the Addams clan. He is shown to be intellectual, sensitive, and incredibly loyal. While Thing cannot talk, he can communicate with the family as well as outsiders like Enid in the 2022 Netflix remake through his gestures. He is often an active part of the story, most of the time being a helpful companion to the characters. This was already the case in the show in the 60s, and remains so in the Wednesday show. But apart from being a seemingly severed hand that clearly has a mind of its own, there is even more magic to him. He can teleport. In the OG show from the 60s, he pops out from random places, mainly the box he lived in, but also a tree trunk and Gomez's briefcase, appearing in places at the other end of the room in just seconds. So, what do we know about the teleporting hand? Well, quite little to be honest. Thing has very deliberately never been explained and remains to this day a mystery. His past is not often spoken about, so there really is no lore per se to this character. But I do have two theories of what or who Thing T Thing may be. The first theory is that he really is a creature that simply exists within the twisted world of the Addams family. The show is full of kooky characters, so why not a hand as its own creature? At Nevermore Academy of the Wednesday Addams show, things like werewolves, sirens, psychics, and halides exist. So it would be perfectly plausible that there's a whole array of unknown creatures, and Thing might just be one of them. Even in the original Addams family, Gomez's mother is a witch, conjuring potions and spells. So even if we go the original route, where there are definitely fewer defined magical characters, they do exist, and Thing might just be one of them. As I said, there are very few things we know about Thing's past. But there are a few clues which might hint towards this resolution. For one, Thing is not unique. Other dismembered hands with their own consciousness and mind exist within the 60s Addams Family TV show. In the episode Morticia Meets Royalty, two more such hands appear. A relative of the Addams family, Cousin Millie, has a hand named Ladyfingers, who appears in the episode and falls madly in love with Thing. And while Ladyfingers is treated more as a servant than a family member, their falling in love clearly shows that these hands have a mind of their own, and are not just cursed or bewitched to do the family's bidding. This point is being driven home by Cousin Millie's second hand, Esmeralda, who acts as a dishonest servant, once more showing the individuality of character and own agency that these creatures have. Also, we get a second clue towards Thing and his kind. In one episode entitled Thing is Missing, Gomez and Morticia find a portrait of Thing's parents, depicted as a male hand and a female hand. This leads us to believe that Thing and others of his kind have a family lifestyle similar to us humans, which makes sense since Thing is very much treated like a human. But this is just one theory. With the limited information and evidence the show gives us, it leaves room for interpretation and a way more macabre theory of what Thing and the other dismembered hands might really be. And before I go into the second theory about Thing, why not use your hands to give us a quick like and subscribe to our channel? Given the passion by the Addams family for all things kooky, spooky, and macabre, it may be that Thing is not actually a creature as such, but a bewitched hand of glory. Now, if you're like me and you hear hand of glory, your mind goes somewhere else and not suitable for YouTube. So let me explain what a hand of glory is. It is the dried and pickled hand of a hanged man. While most of the time the left hand was cut off, when convicted for murder, the hand that did the deed was cut off. So it could just as well be the right hand, which is exactly what Thing is. So, an alternative theory goes like this. Thing is a bewitched hand of a murderer, with the murderer's conscience projected into the hand. How does this make sense, you ask? We know that Thing is Gomez's constant companion since childhood, and knowing that Gomez's mother was a witch, it could perfectly be the case that she bewitched the hand of glory. In return for this mercy of being allowed to continue to live in the form of a conscience trapped in the severed hand, the murderer pledged lifelong loyalty to the Addams family, explaining his loyalty to them. This theory also fits really well with the macabre lifestyle of the Addams family. Throughout the show, we see many torture devices, so it is perfectly plausible that they would have a hand of glory as an honorary family member. Apart from this, there are myths around hands of glory possessing great power when they are made to hold a candle made out of the corpse's fat. So gross. While Thing is not a glorified candlestick, maybe he just got a different type of power by being a bewitched hand of glory, namely his ability to teleport. One question that this theory raises, though, is about his family portrait. If Thing was a murderer, he would not have a family portrait of his parents also as dismembered hands. Or would he? The only plausible explanation I got here is that they were a family of murderers, who got caught together and had their hand chopped off. Someone in the Addams family, either Gomez's mother or another relation capable of witchcraft, wanted to save their consciousnesses and bewitched them into Thing and his family. While his parents perhaps chose to live their independent lives, Thing, who is always shown to have a kind and caring personality, swears allegiance to the Addams family for all eternity, thus becoming essentially a family member. And given that cousin Millie, who actually is Gomez's aunt, also has two of these hands, it is quite possible that bewitching hands of glory is a Addams family tradition, kind of like having house elves in Harry Potter. And while some treat them with kindness and as a part of the family, others treat them as mere servants. And maybe not all murderers whose conscience has been bewitched into their severed hand are quite so happy to live all eternity in that way, explaining the wildly different behaviors of Thing, Ladyfingers, and Esmeralda. So, which theory do you prefer? Do you think Thing is its very own creature, or the consciousness of a murderer in a bewitched hand? Let us know in the comments, I'm so curious to know. If you liked today's video, then give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Rebel Culture. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.